The idea of bringing back D'Angelo Russell, who obviously started his career with the Lakers, that's a conversation that has been going on today, I'm told.
Laker fans have been waiting for this moment all season long, and it looks like we're about to get the answer to a question that we've been having all year. So before we get to the content, we are on the grind to 700,000 subscribers. Make sure you subscribe and turn on our notifications. Help the channel grow. And also, I'm going to the Clippers versus Mavericks game tonight, so if you happen to be there, hit me up on Instagram and I'll buy you a beer. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Usually when this happens, we all make bank. PrizePicks is hooking us up for the Super Bowl with a free square from Patrick Mahomes, which means Mahomes just needs one passing yard in order for his square to convert. So all you have to do if you want to join is go to the link in the description down below, download PrizePicks, and use my promo code microphone so they can match up to $100 of your deposit. And once you're done with that, make these picks. Obviously, you should go with the Patrick Mahomes 0.5 passing yards and click more. Once you're done with that, one of my sleepers is going to be Kenneth Gainwell, who has been a monster throughout the playoffs for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he just needs to get higher than 21.5 rush yards. So we're going to click more there, and if Kenneth Gainwell gets more than 21.5 rush yards, you could 3x your money. Now, if you feel really good about this, you could also add Travis Kelce scoring 1 touchdown, and if both of these hit, you 5x your money. I play PrizePicks each and every day, and I post my picks to my story on Instagram, so make sure you're following me there if you want to see my picks on a daily basis. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Last night was a monumental night in NBA history where we saw LeBron James surpass a fellow Laker legend, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, become the all-time scoring leader in NBA history. A truly monumental achievement that's a testament to LeBron James's longevity. However, what was lost amongst that fantastic achievement was the fact that there was some drama behind the scenes. And this is something that you would have missed at the time that the game went on, which I must admit, there were some things that were a little strange about the game. I mean, pausing the entire game when there was like 9 seconds left in the third quarter, bringing everyone to the center court and having LeBron James give a speech while there's still a game going on. I'm not saying it was a bad thing. It was just a little atypical, I have to admit. But it seems like there were some other things that were going on that indicate that things aren't going well for the Los Angeles Lakers. The first thing is, look at this clip of Anthony Davis at the very moment that LeBron James hit the fadeaway jumper to surpass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There was something off with Anthony Davis last night, I must admit. He wasn't his usual self, he wasn't as dominant as we expected him to be, and sitting down while everyone is cheering is a very strange gesture considering the fact that the person that brought you here from the New Orleans Pelicans, LeBron James. There was even more problems than this. The Los Angeles Lakers would lose to the OKC Thunder. Following this game, Darvin Ham would say a lot of times the attention was all about trying to get Bron the record as opposed to just playing natural basketball. And if that wasn't enough, it seems like Russell Westbrook and Darvin Ham got into it in a verbal altercation in the locker room. According to Adrian Wojnarowski, Lakers guard Russell Westbrook and coach Darvin Ham had a brief, heated verbal exchange in the halftime locker room on Tuesday versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Darvin Ham expressed frustration with how Westbrook lingered on the playing floor after getting subbed out of the game late in the second quarter. Now, Woj continued to say that voices were raised in the locker room, but discussion turned back to trying to win the game versus the OKC Thunder, sources said. Ham closed the game with Westbrook, who had a season-high 14 points in the fourth quarter. Ham and Westbrook dapped up prior to leaving the arena later in that night. Now, what was also lost in this narrative was the fact that this could have potentially been Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James's final game together. This could be the end of the 3-6-0 era, because tomorrow is going to be the day of the trade deadline, which, by the way, let me know how you would like that to be be covered? Would you prefer us to do a live stream, or would you prefer me just bringing out videos as the trades are happening, or maybe even a combo of both? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, things are about to get crazy here because the Lakers are locked in to trade discussions today. So according to our boy Adrian Wojnarowski, this trade is now official. The Los Angeles Lakers, Utah Jazz, and Minnesota Timberwolves have finalized a deal to send D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt in trade, and including Michael Conley and picks to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Russell Westbrook, and a protected 2027 first-round pick to the Utah Jazz. Also in the deal is Juan Toscano-Anderson and Damian Jones to the Jazz. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota gets the 2024 lesser of Washington and Memphis's second-round pick, and the 2025 and 2026 second-round pick via Utah. Wow. I am in shock. I am in awe. Because D'Angelo Russell was already at my top of players that I wanted on the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the guy that I really wanted us to go out and get. I felt like it made a lot of sense next to LeBron James. I really like the history we have with him. I love how he's a 39% three-point shooter this year. And I feel like he's a perfect and seamless fit. And it's a great trial run. And if it works, we could bring him back. But what shocks me here is the Lakers were able to get Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell, and all they had to do is get rid of Russell Westbrook, and they even protected their 2027 first round pick. I thought that they would have had to at least give up one unprotected pick, and I was at peace with that. The fact that they didn't do that, in my opinion, is a huge W. I have to give credit to Rob Pelinka. I mean, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, and D'Angelo Russell, this completely altered the trajectory for the Los Angeles Lakers this season. The Lakers now have a dependable point guard that helps the spacing of the floor, that could also create plays whenever LeBron James wants to take some rest, that will work out really well with Anthony Davis. And on top of that, they've added additional depth. They've added shooting, which is something they desperately needed, and the Western Conference appears to be wide open. You would think the Utah Jazz would refuse to pick up the phone on Danny Ainge, but this also makes a ton of sense for them as well. Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert were a fantastic duo together, and they already have chemistry from their days on the Utah Jazz. So why not roll the dice if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves at this point? You already said that you're going to move on from D'Angelo Russell in the offseason, so why not bring back a point guard that Rudy Gobert is comfortable with, that isn't going to need the ball in his hands all that much, and could let Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns cook? It adds a brand new dimension to your offense. You have nothing to lose because so far the Rudy Gobert trade hasn't panned out the way you liked it. So this is a very, very worthy risk to take if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves. Longtime supporters of this YouTube channel would know that I am a huge D'Angelo Russell fan, primarily because this was at the tail end of the late great Kobe Bryant era, and we drafted D'Angelo Russell during Kobe Bryant's last year. He had all these adorable pictures of D'Lo sitting next to Kobe Bryant and looking up to the Black Mamba. So obviously this painted a picture in Laker fans' mind. You can imagine my frustration when we decided to trade him. As a matter of fact, I was making YouTube videos at the time. The video's still live, and here's a clip from it. I walk far away from public to let you guys know what I think about this trade. I'll tell you why I'm not okay with this. This trade is pretty much us giving up the number 2 overall pick in the 2015 draft to make up for Mitch Kupchak's stupid mistake. Yeah, we have that whole video. I'll leave it in the end screen. I'm thinking of privating it, so go watch it before I decide to private it, maybe. I was really convinced that D'Angelo Russell was going to be the future of the Los Angeles Lakers, enough so to the point where I actually went and bought his rookie jersey. And my frustration about this situation would be amplified when the Lakers traded D'Angelo Russell to get out of a contract which they signed because Mitch Kupchak made an incompetent decision thinking that Timofey Mozgov Mozogov's contract would look good a couple years down the line. It never did. Same with Luol Deng. Luol Deng's contract never looked good. So he had to give up the number 2 overall pick in the 2015 NBA draft to get himself out of that situation. Ultimately, the goal was so they could clear up enough cap space to trade for Paul George or sign Paul George. That never ended up happening. Paul George ended up re-signing with the OKC Thunder that offseason. That just made the Lakers front office look really incompetent, and it was the start of many incompetent front office decisions for the Los Angeles Lakers. D'Angelo Russell would go to the Brooklyn Nets and he would flourish. And it seemed like this was his best year, primarily because Brooklyn Nets were his and he thought he was going to be there for the foreseeable future. The offense ran through him. Whenever he would make a great play or a big shot, he would always do his signature ice in my veins celebration afterwards. This is a man that had a ton of confidence. But as we would know, D'Angelo Russell would get traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Golden State Warriors as a result of the Kevin Durant sign-in trade. From the Golden State Warriors, he would get rerouted to the Minnesota Timberwolves. At this point, the problem with D'Angelo Russell wasn't the fact that he was a bad basketball player by any means. He was really good, but he was playing for teams that already had franchise cornerstones. At this point, it's already been 8 years into his career. He's a fantastic player. He's averaging 18 points, 6 assists, and a steal per game, but I think what's most important here is he's shooting 39% from 3, and he attempts 7 3-pointers per game. You can see why the Los Angeles Lakers would be interested in this. Yeah, one, it's a cute story, but the biggest problem that they had with Russell Westbrook is just the spacing flat out doesn't work with Russell Westbrook on the court. Now, granted, in Russell Westbrook's final game for the Los Angeles Lakers, he was able to hit 4 threes in a single game, but for the most part, we're talking about going from a 34-year-old who's shooting 29% from 3, who's used to being ball dominant, to a player that was known for coming out of the NBA draft as a guy that could play on and off the ball, which to D'Angelo Russell's credit, he has been doing that so far, who's known for his court vision and his basketball IQ, but not so much his defense. His contract is also very digestible for the Los Angeles Lakers at this point, so if it doesn't work out, you can move on from him in the offseason, or you could hopefully sign him to a larger contract, and all of a sudden you get a player that's 8 years younger than Russell Westbrook as your starting point guard, who the Lakers are going to depend on heavily for scoring and playmaking. I mean, I could imagine D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Davis pick and rolls working out really well, and he does have the ability to take over games. He just may have forgotten it because he's on a team with Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. I gotta give a lot of credit to Rob Pelinka here, because we've talked about this in the Kyrie Irving trade video, how Joe Tsai just wanted to make sure that Kyrie Irving didn't get traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, which is a trade that I didn't want to happen. Actually, this was my number 1 trade that I would want to happen. I was saying this in previous videos. I didn't want to give up 2 future unprotected first-round picks for a player that could potentially leave in the offseason. And to Rob Pelinka's credit, he wasn't emotional about this decision. He wasn't giving in to the pressure from the ruthless Los Angeles Lakers fan base. And he wasn't being as petty as Joe Tsai. You know how Joe Tsai chose a lesser deal because he didn't want Kyrie Irving to go to the Lakers? Rob Pelinka stood pat and waited for a deal that made the most sense. He understood that these 2 future first-round picks are his final chips to try to put a contender around LeBron James. And trading Russell Westbrook, a player that clearly wasn't working for them, for not only a point guard that is very ideal next to LeBron James and D'Angelo Russell, also getting players like Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt in return solves the Los Angeles Lakers' depth problems. D'Angelo Russell is on an expiring contract. Malik Beasley has a team option for next season. Jared Vanderbilt is only making $4.6 million next season. The Lakers could go after someone in the offseason if they choose. If they choose not to, then they could potentially bring back their depth pieces as a plan B. They have options as a result of this, and it seems like they're getting a better trade package for Russell Westbrook than the Brooklyn Nets got for Kyrie Irving. Now, as for Russell Westbrook, what could you expect from him? What's going to happen to Russell Westbrook now that he's been traded? According to Chris B. Haynes, in the 3-team deal being discussed between the Los Angeles Lakers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Utah Jazz, a buyout for Russell Westbrook in Utah would be the likely path. This is where things get a little scary. This is where Russell Westbrook might go into Kevin Durant-like revenge mode. Because if you really think deeply about it, what would be the ideal situation for Russell Westbrook to thrive in? Hopefully, he went to the Lakers and realized that he just can't team up with everybody. He needs to be in a specific situation to maximize the spacing in the paint for his drives, and hopefully a deep defensive roster to make up for his defensive inadequacies. Maybe a coach that is really masterful at play design and adjustments, who used to play basketball himself, who could get him to buy into a smaller role for the sake of winning a championship. So revenge, great shooting, a coach that used to play basketball, who could get him to buy into his vision, and a deep defensive roster. What team provides all of those options? Sounds like the Los Angeles Clippers. Yeah, the NBA is about to get really freaking juicy. This is gonna sound super bizarre, but the reacquisition of D'Angelo Russell has really ignited a passion for the Los Angeles Lakers within me that I haven't felt in a very, very long time. I'm very excited as a Los Angeles Laker fan, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And make sure you drop a like on this video because I am definitely missing the first quarter of Kyrie Irving's debut versus the Los Angeles Clippers. If you want to see how that's like for me, check my Instagram story. And aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.